There is an, excuse the pun, art to the cover card. It's what sells a customer to a Yu-Gi-Oh pack, deck, or box. Imagine going to a store and seeing those two original 2002 starter decks, Yugi and Kaiba, with those clear cards in front. A doorway to playability is an awesome way to push product when you can clearly see that Dark Magician in its physical form. New decks should return to doing this. Show me that Rainbow Dragon in a Crystal Beast deck, or Obelisk in its respective release. Regardless, having that boss monster promoted as such is a great way to hype up the new set compared to if the Yugi starter deck used, say, Celtic Guardian or Gaia the Fierce Knight. Now, why did the Kaiba Evolution deck use Kaiser Seahorse and not Blue Eyes? I may never know. After all, the Yugi Evolution deck used Black Luster Soldier, which is a reasonable change from using Dark Magician again. It's like if the Yugi deck went for Zombira the Dark instead. Even Kaiba using Paladin of White Dragon would have made more sense given the Blue Eyes connection and ritual kinship to BLS, but I digress. Still, changing from the window to pure art isn't necessarily a downgrade. You can clearly see the cover monster in a high quality image that typically complements the rest of the box from an aesthetic standpoint. That blaze of destruction and fury from the deep decks show you everything you need to know, fire and water themes respectively. From a distance, you know what these decks are all about, even if you may not know the entire contents of the box or how they play. Zombie madness? Yeah, that looks pretty spooky and equally powerful to me. That's all you need to consider after purchasing it. Even Vampire Genesis itself is a rather lackluster card. Tins are another key product when it comes to cover arts. Like decks, you get a selection to pick from. Also, in conjunction with the decks, you pick one based on the cover art, and that's the card you're going to get, among other cards in the box. How many of you got one of these and were either excited or disappointed in your parents' selection and or the availability at your local shop? Oh man, I got a Lord of D-Tin? I wanted a Joey one, since he's my favorite character and Red Eyes Black Dragon has yet to be reprinted in 2002. It's a different time back then. Or if you're on the competitive side in 2003, you absolutely wanted that Janjo tin, or as many called it, Tinzo. Plenty of these monsters are what helped define early Yu-Gi-Oh! Thanks to their iconic appearance and product availability. You're more likely to remember Black Skull Dragon since it was featured in the anime, the Metal Raiders pack, action figures, and the 2002 collectible tin. Tiger Axe can't say the same. Speaking of booster packs, these were arguably the most well-known examples of cover cards, considering they're the main way most people obtain cards, at least back in the day. A constant stream of releases with a clear identity would absolutely define each generation. Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon, that was the set of the legendary Dragon of Destruction. Metal Raiders Black Pack with Black Skull Dragon gave that set an edge, separating it from the previous set. Magic Rulers Green Coloring with Relinquished fit that magical and mysterious theme, one that made you really want to pull Pegasus's boss monster. It fits the marketing of it more than a magic card like Toon World or Delinquent Duo, though Blue Eyes Toon Dragon wouldn't have been a poor choice either. It played into the following set, Pharaoh's Servant, which certainly could have used Janjo if Upper Deck wanted to. By using Thousand Eyes Restrict, it showed the evolution of these anime-themed releases, alongside the future of fusion monsters from being generic beaters like Black Skull into effect-driven cards. This philosophy would maintain for quite some time. The following series, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, did a great job in this area of marketing. Consider that GX's design choices were all about its anime and character-driven archetypes. Thus, cover cards had more intentionality with their outward appeal, like with the Elemental Heroes, Ancient Gear Golem, Cyber End Dragon, Elemental Hero Shining Flare Wingman, and Raviel Lord of Phantasms, as the first 4 GX Series 1 sets stood out compared to the 2004 booster sets. Perhaps cutting out Yami Yugi or human characters thereof from the covers helped showcase the primary image, in a similar fashion to how pre-constructed decks evolved. There's no Jaden to block Air Neos or Rainbow Dragon. You get all that amazing art, front and center. Meanwhile, in OCG land, the sets of Series 1 and 2 were more focused on characters on the covers. Series 1 only had the manga and Toei anime to pivot off of, so it set the standard of using colorized manga art, also due to the Toei anime being an advertising vessel for the Bandai card game, and thus unusable for this new iteration. Though Volume 1 did include Blue Eyes White Dragon despite the set not including it. False marketing! Series 2 would advance a little bit by including monsters in the background, but you had to squint your eyes to see them behind the prominent characters. Like, look at Thousand Eyes Bible compared to the TCG's Pharaoh's Servant. A notable difference. By Series 2, new players flocked into the game when the Studio Gallop anime came out in 2002. So, focusing on the characters yet again made sense in terms of advertising, which would extend through Series 3 as well, before aligning sets with the TCG in Series 4. It's interesting to see why Yu-Gi-Oh! Did what it did. The TCG wanted to cast a wide net of characters and monsters to showcase the IP, as they thought just showing Yu-Gi was not enough. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was finally introduced in the West after Pokemania died down, thus the refocus on monsters was a key strategy. Make kids remember who Yugi is, but also make them know what Black Skull Dragon is, what Dark Paladin is. What cards to chase for was the name of the game in the TCG. Makes me wonder if they ever considered other characters on court boosters, like Joey and Kaiba. The OCG dabbled a little bit in it. Guess they kept with the OCG Series 2 to 3 mindset in that regard. I think the cover card is a bit of a lost art in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's use Series 12 core boosters for example, spanning between 2023 to 2025. These sets use a lot more complicated designs, which isn't inherently bad, but it does make it tougher for a set to leave a lasting impact from an aesthetic point of view. When you think of a cheeseburger, you think of a bun with meat, cheese, maybe with lettuce, onion, and tomato. You're not thinking of a cheeseburger with all that and then bacon, pineapple, jalapeno crisp, a fried egg, etc. I mean, maybe you are, but you're not the majority. Looking at Rage of the Abyss, what does this cover tell you? It's a flurry of whatever the heck that monster is. It's a shark? Tell me that Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon wouldn't have been a better card. After all, Konami clearly is going back to their roots with cover cards for Series 12 sets, like Phantom Nightmare, Legacy of Destruction, and the Infinite Forbidden being Yubel, Gandora, and Exodia. And there's a reason for that. These are designs that stick to your head better than the Cybersman on Alliance Insight. There really is an art to the cover card. It's used to distinguish one set from another, to give it a visual identity, promote the set's contents, as well as showcase the future of the card game. Sometimes the modern tins don't do this too well, but I must admit, those sarcophagus tins are fantastic. I don't want to say it was better before and awful now. What I'm getting at is that there's a method to the madness, and a middle ground must be met. A place where, at the very least, pack design needs to be clear in the cover art, and a design that can be spotted from across the room, as messy cards will only lose detail the further you get away from them, let alone anyone who isn't in the know of upcoming releases and the metagame. Find a balance for meta heads and casuals that can ultimately push the game forward. I'm not asking for much, just some quality and consistency is all. And can we bring back those card windows on the pre-constructed decks? Pretty please?